Hey everyone, it's Shelby here. Welcome back to A Little Literary Love. I'm glad y'all are with me today because today I have another recommendations video, and I thought it would be so fitting since today is Super Bowl Sunday to do a football romance recommendations video. But before we get into all of the books that I'm going to be talking about, please, if you enjoy my content, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button if you like this video too. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this year, but I can only do that with the help of you all. So if you enjoy what I'm putting out, if you enjoy the videos I'm doing, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. I post videos every Thursday and Sunday. And yes, it is Super Bowl Sunday. So if you are like me, I am not honestly the biggest sports person. I will watch it every once in a while, but I usually end up getting bored. I know that's kind of blasphemy in this country, but I love sports romance for some reason. Like, it's one of my favorite subgenres, tropes in the romance realm. So today I thought I would specify that and talk about some of my favorite football romances. So I have a list of about 7 books here. They vary in spice level and time frame when these books were written. So we're going to start off with the one that I just recently finished last night, in fact. That's going to be Intercepted by Alexa Martin. So this one has been around for a while. It's taken me a while to actually get to this one. This one features our female main character, excuse me. She has broken up with her football player boyfriend because she found out that he has been cheating on her, and she has had enough of his gaslighting that he's been doing. He's not a great guy, and she vows that she is done with athletes. She's not going to date any athletes anymore, but the new quarterback in town for her ex's football team is somebody that she has had a fling with in the past, and they still have that spark together, and he is trying to woo her and get her to give up those at least rethink those vows that she had to not date an athlete again. So this one was super fun. It was very quirky, hilarious at times, but there's also a lot of good serious moments in this book. I do like the two characters together. I also feel like this female main character is a very strong female main character. She gets a lot of flack. A lot of people are hating on her, but she stands up for herself. She doesn't let anybody talk shit about her, and I really like seeing that. She also stands by her boundaries and her morals, which I can also really appreciate. This one does have a lot of drama and angst to it, so if that is something that you really enjoy in your books, this one might be a perfect one for you to pick up. If you don't enjoy that, maybe skip this one. There's a lot of drama between her and some of the other football wives, and there's a little bit of like conflict, I mean, between her and the male main character of the story. However, they do work through those problems. There is character growth in this, so I did appreciate that. Also, before I forget to say, this one is probably the lowest on the steam for this list. It is still a little bit spicy, but I would almost categorize this as pretty low steam. It's very minimal. Not a lot is played into that. It mostly focuses on the relationships, her friendships, and everything else going on between her and the other wives. Then we have The Rivalry by Nikki Sloan. This is one of her only standalone books, if not the only standalone book that Nikki Sloan has. This one is set in college, so it's college football, and our two main characters, they meet at a wedding, and they hit it off really well, and then they are going to try to meet up again, and they find out that they are from rival colleges. He plays football for one college, and she's a cheerleader for another college, and they are huge rivals, and so they just don't know how things are going to work between them. He doesn't really care as much about the rivalry. He still wants to pursue her, but she thinks it's a really big deal, mostly because her family thinks it's a really big deal. She's really just concerned about what her family is going to think about her dating somebody from this rival team. So they have a lot of that kind of stuff to work through. But this one might be the steamiest on this list. If you've never read a Nikki Sloan book before, she writes erotic romance, very steamy. This one is no exception. Steam is through the roof on this one. However, it is probably one of the more lighter books that Nikki Sloan does. So I did really enjoy this one. Then we have Blindside by Candy Steiner. This one is the second book of the Red Zone Rivals series. So this entire series centers around college football players. This one is probably, I'm mentioning this one because it is my favorite of the series. This one features fake dating trope. We have our mailman character. He is on the football team and he has broken up with his girlfriend. Well, she broke up with him actually. And our female main character is, I think she's in college. Like she is on the reporter or what is she? Oh, she's like a public relations kind of person. Anyway, so they are going to do an interview together and they realize that maybe they could help each other out. So they make a deal to fake date because he is going to help her get noticed by her crush. And then she is going to help him make his ex jealous. However, then they start doing these like lessons in seduction and she makes known that she is a virgin. So she kind of adds on the whole teach me sex into their arrangement and I absolutely love it. That is one of my favorite tropes is that whole teach me sex thing. It's so good, especially because she is a romance reader. She loves reading smut. Me too, obviously. And he ends up reading some of her favorite books to figure out what she would like in the bedroom. I love it when a male main character reads her favorite books. That is just like total, like a book boyfriend status right there. Absolutely adore it. Great steam in this one, and it was just a fun time. Then we have Jockstraps and Newspapers by Lizzie Strong. Technically, this is not football that is featured in this book. However, this book features a sport that the author made up, which I think was kind of an amalgamation of like football and soccer / rugby. So I'm counting it for football romance because it just kind of reminded me of a football team when I was reading it. This one features is also a monster romance. It's kind of more of like a cozy monster romance. So our male main character, he is a minotaur. He is captain of the sports ball team. He is also set to become the coach at the end of this season. Our female main character is, her dream is to work at this local newspaper, and she gets a job there on a probationary basis. And the probationary basis is they give her an assignment, and that is to cover the local sports ball team and what's happening with that. She doesn't give a crap about sports. So relate to that. So she is trying to interview our male main character, and he sets out to try to show her why he loves the game, why so many people love sports. But in the meantime, they start getting very friendly together, and he's so attracted to her that this sends him into a heat. And the only way to satisfy this heat is to have lots of fun, sexy times. So if you're a fan of like Omegaverse or some of those monster stories with like heats and knots, definitely check this one out. You will definitely love this one. There's also some like kinky times in here. There's like breeding kink and exhibitionism in here. Super cute story. The two of them are adorable together. And I just really loved all of the fun shenanigans that they end up getting into in this book. So definitely recommend checking this one out. Then I have two male stories. First one is The End Game by Riley Hart. I absolutely adore this story. So this one we have Anson. He is our football player. He is in the adults, like National Football League. But he is in the closet about his sexuality. He ends up meeting Weston at a bar. Weston is a senator, and he is an out and proud gay man working in legislature and politics. They meet at a bar and they have this instant connection, but Anson is too wary about letting himself feel the things that he has felt for a long time. He is worried what could happen, and he's also worried about what could happen if things came out and how it would reflect on his career. But they end up texting each other because Anson leaves his sunglasses there at the bar, and they form a friendship of sorts before they finally can't help but giving into each other and starting to explore a sexual relationship together. And it's just, this one, it was such a heartwarming story for me, and it was completely unexpected. These two characters, absolutely, like, their love story just made my heart so warm. It made me tear up at certain times because they are batting for each other, they are rooting for each other, and it's just so beautiful to see. And one of my favorite books that I've read this year so far. Obviously, we still have a long way to go for this year, but I can safely say that this is probably going to be one of my favorite books that I have read this year. It was just so sweet, and I loved it so much. And then the next book, the other male romance that I have, is Trick Play by Eden Finley. This is the second book of their, I think it's called Fake Out series. It's basically a bunch of sports romance combined with fake dating. So like I said, this is the second book of the series. The first book is also really good, but that features more baseball player. This one of our characters, Matt, he has been unexpectedly outed by the press. And so his team scrapped him, and he is trying to look for deals, but to help to repair his tarnished reputation, his sports agent, who we met in the first book, which, I mean, you don't necessarily have to read the first book before getting into this one if you're curious, tells him that their strategy is to make him fake date somebody, because if he's seen being in a committed relationship, that this will help his reputation. So in comes Noah. He is the son of somebody in politics. I can't remember if it's the governor or a senator or something like that. Noah is kind of a playboy character. He does not want to be in a relationship whatsoever. Matt obviously is going through a lot of stuff with just being outed, and all of a sudden now he's just known as the first out gay football player, and all of the weight that comes with that and all of the scrutiny that comes with that. So they don't really like each other at first, but they again become friends and have this sort of fuck buddy relationship before it becomes something more. I really enjoyed this one. I loved the character growth and the arcs that both of these characters go through throughout this story. I thought their love story was just so beautiful and tender, and also very steamy too. And it was just such a fun time. It was hilarious, but not as hilarious as the first book in the series. And yeah, I just really enjoyed it. And then the last book that I have for this list is going to be Too Safe by Abby Millsaps. This is the first book of the Lake Chapel series. So I have not read the rest of the books of the series, but I am currently in the middle of the second book, and I will continue on. And honestly, I really want to continue to her South Chapel series, which I think stems or plays off of this series. Now, I'm going to be very upfront with you all about this book. The plot honestly could have been a lot better in this one. It leaves much to be desired. There's a lot of plot holes that I found reading this first one. Our female main character has been on the run for a while. We don't know why. And she finally settles in this town and joins or signs up for the local university. She wants to get a degree, and she's staying with her uncle. But she attracts the attention of these four football stars, and she kind of hooks up with one of them at a party, but then later on, she is working at this spa and she comes across a couple of them and they think that she sees something that she's not supposed to see, something that they are trying to keep hidden. And so their solution to this is to force her to live with them on their remote island that they live on for the foreseeable future so that they can keep an eye on her to make sure that she doesn't blab about what she saw, even though she has no clue what they're talking about. So, I mean, even then, like right there, I was kind of like, oh, not so sure about that. But the reason why I have this one on my list is that it was just so consumable reading this first book. I didn't want to put it down. I just needed to keep seeing what was going to happen. Also, this author writes really great sexual tension between her and the four guys. This does end up becoming a white shoes story. I love those. I love white shoes. One of my favorites. So I kind of I used my like suspension of disbelief reading this story a little bit because the plot was a little bit far-fetched. But I enjoyed the crap out of reading this. It was so good. The sexy times were so great. This does end on a cliffhanger as well, which is why I am already in the middle of reading the second book because I just want to gobble this up. I want to know more. I want to keep reading and find out what happens. So I definitely understand why there's a lot of hype for this book and for this author because it's so addicting almost, like reading this. So I just put this on here because I thought it was so fun. And I mean, if you want to read some good, fun, schmexy times, I mean, definitely pick this one up because I've enjoyed the crap out of it. But yes, so that is going to be it for this video for all of my football recommendations. I am hoping to read a lot more football romances this year. I have had lots of people give me recommendations. So if you have any football romance recommendations, make sure you're leaving a comment down below. Let all of us enjoy and help each other out with finding more football romances and just more romances to read in general, because I know I have a never-ending TBR, but I mean, I can always continue to add more to it. That's where we're at. So if you like this video, make sure you're hitting that thumbs up button. And again, subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate you watching and supporting me. It means so much to me. But that is going to be it. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.